I rose early and climbed the hill of our berth, carrying the mouse, which began to squeal and scrabble again. I took a few stout sticks with me and some string from which to construct the gallows. I felt sure that this was somehow more than a mouse, and that something would soon happen. As soon as I pushed 2 forked sticks into the sod to make the uprights, didn't I see a cleric riding toward me? I greeted him, attempting to hide my amusement, for this was obviously no coincidence. I was even so reckless as to mention that no one had been seen in Dyfed for some 7 years. He made some vague remark about being on his way to England, but he was more interested in what I was doing. I explained to him that I had caught a mouse thieving my grain, and that I was now meting out justice. Well, he went into great histrionics about how I was forgetting my nobility, lowering myself, dirtying my hands, and so on. When his speech had run its course, I simply said that I would do it anyway. When he then offered me £1 in coin for the life of my prisoner, I suspected that I was making progress. I refused in order to gauge his reaction, but he simply shrugged and rode away muttering. I went on with my simple construction, and now there came a well-dressed priest riding along. Oh, he was full of pleasantries, which I returned, but after that the conversation went much as it had with the cleric, except that he offered me £3. I barely bothered to conceal my mirth as I told him that justice must be done. He, too, accepted my word and rode on. Although I could see no one about, I made a great show of tying a hangman's noose and placing it around the mouse's neck. When I looked up, what did I see but a bishop, with all his retinue of servants and guards in a train with beasts laden with what appeared to be treasure chests. Now I knew I must hold my nerve and give no insult, however much I wanted to slap my thigh and roar with laughter. The bishop offered me his worthless blessing, and then conversation turned to the impending execution. His offer was £7, which I refused, wondering whether an archbishop was due along soon. Immediately he offered £24, and I knew I had him. I declined, and he offered me all his treasure and horses. I thanked him and refused. "Oh, name your price then," he barked. Now I knew I had to tread carefully, for if I did this well, I might be able to bind all the magic that had troubled Dyfed for so long. I paused and considered the best approach. "Perhaps you would be able to free Rhiannon and Pryderi," I ventured. "Yes, that can be easily done," came the reply. "Then it isn't enough." "What else do you want?" "I want all harm and enchantment lifted from Dyfed and its people." "Yes, I can do it this instant, if you give me the mouse," he said. "I don't think I will." "There's more I want from you. Will you give me what I ask?" Now it was my rival's turn to hesitate, but it didn't last long. "Tell me what you want," he said. "These are the things I want. Rhiannon and Pryderi returned unharmed, and Dyfed restored in all ways. Then," I said, "you will tell me who this mouse really is, and who you really are, and explain this whole evil mess to me, for you have done much harm." I realized I was close to shouting, but since he looked suitably intimidated, I continued to grip the quaking mouse in my hand. "The mouse is my wife, sir," he began, "and she is with child. I beg you not to harm her. My name is Llwyd Cilchoed. All this enchantment was done by me to avenge the honor of my friend Gwal, the son of Clwyd, for the humiliation shown to him by Pwyll and Rhiannon at their wedding feast. In order to destroy your crop, I transformed the men of my war band into mice and sent them to steal your wheat each night. They found this to be great sport, and on the 3rd night their wives and servants asked that I allow them to join the raid. Even my own wife, but because she was with child and moved slowly you caught her. Now I have agreed to everything. Please let her go." "I can't do that just yet," I said. "I require much more than this from you." "Ah, tell me what else there is," he replied, "and I will do it if I can." "Oh, I will tell you, and if you cannot do it, then I cannot release her. It is that simple." So I went on. "You must give me your word that no further harm or enchantment will come to Daved, and that no harm or revenge at all will be worked against Rhiannon, Pryderi, or myself." "You are a wise man," he said. "I agree to all your demands. Now release my wife." "When I see Rhiannon and Pryderi standing here beside me, unharmed, and I see Daved restored as it was when last I climbed this hill, then I will release her." And so it was. With no fog or noise or strange lights, Rhiannon was there at my side, and Pryderi with her. And when we looked down from the hill of our birth, the land was again as it was before, filled with people and beasts, and our companions were again on the hill with us. My joy at seeing Kigva and Pryderi united and everything put to rights was very great, but my joy at being reunited with Rhiannon was greater yet. We did not feast that night, as we were tired, and only we four had any awareness of what had taken place. Our years of misfortune seemed to have happened in the blink of an eye from the viewpoint of the people of Daved. Rhiannon and I retired early, not to our bedchamber, but to a secret bower we had formerly made near the edge of a wood. The night was warm and starry. Rhiannon spread her cloak on the ground, and we lay down, with mine covering us, more contented than you can imagine. Rhiannon gave a long sigh. "I am so glad to be outdoors," she said. "What befell you and Pryderi in that fortress?" I asked her. "When I entered that place, I was soon in a beautiful courtyard, and in the center of it was a marble fountain. My eye was drawn to a golden bowl hanging on a golden chain beside the fountain, and it was then that I saw Pryderi standing there, quite motionless. At first, I didn't believe it was him, as he spoke no word to me, yet I sensed his distress, and I saw how his one hand seemed to cling unnaturally to the golden bowl. I put my hand on his to guide him away, and found that I could neither move nor speak, and then all was darkness. When I next awoke, I saw Pryderi sitting beside me on a rough bench, with great weights around his neck, and he seemed to be waking from a long sleep. I looked down and saw that around my neck was the working collar of an ass. Then there was a voice telling me to get up, we must go, and I was standing by your side on the hill of our birth. "Well, I'm glad it was nothing worse," I said. "Indeed, much worse things have happened to me in the past," she replied, "but I know I owe you thanks for my freedom." And so we lay a long time, not speaking, looking at the stars and listening to the peaceful sounds of the night. We seemed to float, suspended in time, and in a place that was both Daved and not Daved. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story. You can purchase A Tale of Manawydan as a book from my webshop, and the link is below this video. And if you would like to support my work on Patreon, I would be very appreciative. Thanks.